Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray and I teach watercolor, and today we are doing our Let's Make Art Matter postcard for our Rhythm and Wonder box.
Ooh.
This is our May box, and our recipient for our Let's Make Art Matter for May is, we're celebrating Mother's Day. Yeah.
Mother's Day?
Yeah. Now, I know that not everyone might have a mother to send this to, and there's probably a lot of hurt behind that. So please understand our intention of just trying to spread love and appreciation. And if it's not your mother, maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's your sister or your friend or your neighbor or your grandma, just a woman in your life that you appreciate and you want to show some love to. Okay?
Okay.
Now, this postcard, I'm doing a little bit different than how I usually do it, where I'm going to kind of make the postcard as I go, so you guys can see me problem solve and just kind of make decisions on the fly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Usually that kind of all happens behind the scenes, and then I come ready being step 1, step 2, step 3. But I sometimes think that there's value in kind of giving you guys a view of what it looks like to just start creating a project from start to finish. And I'm just gonna talk out loud as we paint and create this. Now, of course, I want to remind you guys that you can do your own thing on this postcard. You do not have to follow this at all. Maybe you paint something special that's between you and your mother, or you are the artist here. You have full autonomy over this painting in front of us, okay?
Cool.
Cool. So what we're going to do for this postcard, and I'm not entirely sure yet, I have a rough idea. So I was looking through a book I illustrated called Motherhood. And this was one of the first books it was the first book I illustrated, and it's I have a soft place in my heart for it, and it's all about quotes on motherhood, which lines up perfectly with our postcard. And I was kind of just flipping through. First of all, it's so fun to see how styles change. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where I was just looking at this, and I love it, and it's so different than what I make now, and I think that's really fun. But then I thought okay, I was doing this kind of floral shape a lot in this book. If you look at this flower, it's kind of throughout the entire book and different illustrations. So I thought it would be fun if we do a floral postcard with kind of this as our inspiration. Okay?
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a similar technique to our floral and ink project, which is essentially we do some loose washes and then we use our pen or our marker to kind of do detail lines and tighten it up.
Sweet.
Okay?
I love that detail pen.
So we're just going to go for it.
Do it. Go for it.
Keenan, are you ready?
I'm so ready for this, Sarah.
I really hope it turns out okay. Woo! Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start by doing kind of a peachy blush floral color for my flower. And again, I'm going to do this kind of shape where it's kind of I think an anemone.
Oh, Nemo.
Yep. That's all I'm going to say. And, but, you can do whatever flower you want. Okay, so what I did is I have 3 colors on my palette: fuchsia, tiger orange, and space blue. And I'm just going to use my round 6 brush, and I mix a little bit of my fuchsia with a little bit of my tiger orange, and then some water to lighten that value to make a nice kind of blush or peach color. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a big flower. Now, whenever you are starting a painting from scratch, very rarely do you want to put the main thing in the very center of your paper. It just makes it a little bit tricky to make it feel balanced after that. So I always like to go a little bit off center. So if this is my center, I'm going to start here. And it just, even slightly, even a little bit helps, moving it off center. And I'm just going to take this blush color, and using kind of the side of my brush, I'm going to sweep this color around. So it kind of creates, I don't know, Keenan, what would you call that shape?
I just want to say anemone.
Okay.
But it looks like the top of a head.
Okay, like a head shape. That's a good one.
Head shape.
And then I love to just right at that base, drop in some color. Okay, and then we're gonna do it again. Now what I love about the ink that we're gonna add later is these petals can be really wonky. You can even just do a circle if you want, like going more back to the actual ink and floral project. If you just want to do like a round circle, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And try and get 5 petals in there if you can. They do not need to be all the same size. They don't have to be symmetrical or anything like that. And then let's drop in some color. And then right in the center, I'm going to grab some tiger orange. And you see how I left a space in between my petals here? I did that so then when I put in my yellow, oh, well, I touched it. But you can put in your yellow center, and if you don't want it to touch, I actually really liked what that did.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
So I'm going to do more of that. And I'm just going to go with the flow. And if you're just like, is this what it's really like coming up with projects? It is. I just put a thing down and it does something different, and then I go, all right, well, that's what it did, and we're gonna go with it.
Let's get a detail liner pen and call it a box.
There we go. That's all it is. Okay, so I feel good about that flower for now. It's not done, and we'll add more stuff to it, so don't even worry about it. Maybe I'll drop in a little extra of this fuchsia, like right in the center.
I was going to suggest that.
Because, like, why not? You know?
Fuchsia, ugh.
It's nice. Okay. And then let's maybe try like a small side flower, as if you're looking at that flower that's flat right now. We're going to turn it on its side. So if you take a flower and it's open in front of you like your palm, let's pretend this is a overhead view of a flower, and you turn it, what you're going to see is the petals here, the side of the petal, and then you would see the petals on the other side coming out and around. But all of it is shorter, right? Like if you look at this widthwise and you turn it on its side, now it's about half its width. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So I'm going to do that same idea, and I'm going to get some more fuchsia. And I'm going to do like a long curve, kind of like a C, okay? So it's maybe a C. Keenan, you come up with the shape, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to do like this, and then it dips behind the flower and then comes back up. So maybe like a bow.
Oh yeah, that looks like it'd be tied to the stem of that flower.
Yeah. No, like a bow and arrow.
Well, you're saying archery.
Yeah.
An archery bow.
Yeah. Like if there's a line right there.
I could see that. Or a shallow boomerang flying through the air.
Shallow boomerang. That is the shape we're going for.
Yes.
Genius. And then I'm going to create an invisible center here. That's a circle. And I'm going to do my petals working around the center of that. So I'm going to start my petal here. And then again, just kind of using the side of my brush to round it out near the top. The biggest thing to remember is you want the bottom of your petal to be narrow, so small, and then it widens out. Okay?
Okay. There's a guy on YouTube that makes custom boomerangs.
Really?
Some of them get up to 3 feet tall.
That's really cool.
Super cool.
3 feet tall?
They're huge.
Oh. Okay. And sometimes I like to do a little like shape it. How do I say this? It's curving towards here. Does this make sense? So you see how my edge petals are kind of curving up like this? Mm-hmm. Kind of following that movement. Okay? Isn't that pretty?
So pretty. I love that pink. Is that fuchsia? That fuchsia.
That fuchsia is so nice, huh?
Ah.
And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab some space blue and some tiger orange, and we're going to make green. I don't know how I got that color. I think my colors bled together. So let's do some clean piles.
That's not green.
Nope. I think some fuchsia got in there.
It's a pretty color.
Yeah, it's like a burnt orange.
Yeah, it's nice.
Which is personally one of my favorite colors. So I'm taking my tiger orange and a little bit of my space blue. There we go. There's our green. Mm. And then this is where you kind of make some decisions. So, okay, I know I want to put some big leaves in there. I know that I want to put some like stems with smaller leaves. I also think these flowers are really cute. You see these little bud things?
The little yellow ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
I really like them. So this is where my mind is thinking, where I know I want those elements. So how do I piece these elements together in a way that makes sense in my composition? So I'm looking at the spaces that I still have left. I have a big chunk right here. So whatever larger element I still have in my mind that I want to put in, this is where I would put it. So it'd either be a large leaf or those flowers, right? Because I got a nice big space right here. I feel like if I were to put those bud or anything big or thick over here, my composition would be off balance. You see how heavy it would feel? Like imagine having a big flower right here.
It would be falling.
It would feel like it's literally falling off the page. You see how I'm leaning?
Yes.
Like it's gonna fall.
It's a common motion here at the Let's Make Art Studio.
So, think about buds. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 3 buds here and a small leaf and then a bigger leaf down here on the bottom left, okay? What color should we do the bud leaves, Keenan?
Well,
I mean the bud flowers, these round ones.
I really like that yellow.
The tiger, this yellow?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we match that?
Oh, I'm sure we can. Give me a mixing color challenge.
That made me think of Kronk from Emperor's New Groove. Oh, I can feel it.
All right, so I'm going to take some tiger orange. So this is like a yellow ochre, which is kind of like a desaturated yellow and maybe tends to lean a little bit like brown or green, you know? So I have a very vibrant yellow. Let's add a little bit of space blue to it, but just a little, and a little bit of fuchsia to it.
Oh, that looks good.
Maybe a little bit more tiger orange. And some water. That feels pretty close.
Pretty
All right.
close.
So I'm going to do that. So what I like to do with these is it's basically just a circle with the center not filled in and off center.
Oh.
So circle. We're going to leave it the center off center, so I'm going to fill in the bottom half.
Oh man, and you can adjust where you want your center too.
Yep.
Keep your center open real wide and you can just tighten it up.
Yeah. Okay. That feels good.
Yeah, that looks great.
All right, now I'm going to do some leaves on this side. So I'm going to take some green and a little bit of blue. And you can decide how like green you want it to be. Do you want it to be more yellow green? Add more yellow. If you want it to be more blue green, add more blue. And let's do, so I want to do a big leaf, but I don't want it to fully come off my paper, and I kind of want it to be angled in the bottom corner instead of straight down. Very rarely do you want to, especially when you're doing these floral compositions, do you want something to go straight up, straight down, or straight to the side. You always want a little bit of a curve in there. And what that does is it creates a line in your composition, and we want our viewer's eye to stay within it. So if I were to do a line straight up and down like a leaf that went straight down here, it would just be like, meh. Our eye would just kind of like go off the page and go straight down. So if we do a little bit of a boop.
Oh, that's nice.
Fill it in with water. Let's drop in some more blue here.
Do you think you could purposefully plan leaves to go straight down like that?
Yeah.
If you were to do a collection?
Yeah.
To where they just guide around the whole collection?
Totally. Totally.
That'd be lovely.
And this is why I love talking about the why. Like, what is it going to make our eye do? Because once you know that, you can then avoid it or do it on purpose depending on what you're trying to create. There is nothing wrong with breaking the rules. There's nothing wrong with going off script and doing whatever you want to do. But when you break the rules, do it with purpose so you can understand that you're hitting your goal, or you're making that viewer's eye where, like, purposely, if you wanted to create a painting that's like super off-centered, that's close to the edge, there are artists that do that compositionally because it makes the viewer feel uncomfortable, and that is their goal. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Like, as an artist, you can have a goal of being like, my hope with creating my artwork is to get this viewer to move. And so maybe it's like detailed and then looks good. So you're like walking close up and then far away. Or my goal with this is to make them feel really uncomfortable. So I'm gonna break some rules here and do something really wonky because I don't want this to be a serene painting. I want to make people feel something. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So all of that is like, you guys have the freedom to make all of those decisions. And once you know how, like the response or why they do it or why you're doing it, you can use that information to the artwork that you create. And it's a powerful tool. It's really amazing.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I mixed together some space blue here, and let me pull this closer in so you can see, and a little bit of water and a tiny, tiny bit of green to get this gorgeous turquoise color, which I really, really love. Do you love that color?
I do love that color.
I love that color so much that I think I'm gonna make this into the background color.
I was gonna say it kind of makes me think of the sky.
So I'm adding a background to this now.
Very nice.
So I'm taking that, and I'm just gonna take that color and spread it. Now at this point, my main flower should be pretty dry, that if I kind of accidentally touch the edge, it shouldn't bleed. My green flower is still, my green leaf is still wet enough that if I were to touch it, some color would move. And you know what? Since I know that we're going over this with the pen later anyway, I'm okay with the little extra bleeding. And frankly, I think it's really cool. Like, look at this, look at this, look at this.
It's too good. That's a great blue.
It is.
What was its original intention?
What?
I already forgot. You made that blue and then you're just like, oh, I want this as the background.
I was gonna do a leaf like this leaf.
Oh, wow.
Just like a blue leaf right there. But
Look
I'm
how
like,
much different it's changed to this painting already.
yeah. Doesn't it make it feel kind of more full?
Yeah. And that leaf kind of bled into it.
Yeah, look how beautiful that is. I wonder if I can get some pink bleeding a little bit. Or yellow. Yeah, let's get some yellow.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just gonna move and do its own thing, and we're going to react to it instead of being upset that it's not doing what we expect it to do, okay? That is the key to watercolor. React to it instead of being like, you didn't go where I wanted you to go, you know?
Yeah.
And I just want kind of a darker edge right here. So I'm gonna do another layer. Oh my gosh, I love what's happening so far. Fill that in.
Wow.
Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dry this so I can paint on top of it. So I can, do I wanna put some green down first? Yep, yes I do. Let's take a little bit of this green, and wherever I think I'm gonna do more leaves, kind of like calling back to our salt flower tutorial. Do you remember where we kind of did like, dropped in some green when it was wet and just let it move? Okay, there we go. Well, let's try.
Be one with the wind.
What?
Be one with the wind.
Be one with the heat it craft tool.
Not hotel hairdryer tool.
I'm sure a hairdryer would do the trick.
It would.
It would just be a little bit stronger in thrust.
Just have to hold it out.
Oh yeah, you just do it like far away.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely one of those artists that just kind of uses what they have. We make it work. I've never used this until this year, honestly. Never used a heat tool with my watercolor.
It's handy.
It really is handy. I will say that my snacking time has been cut way down, which is upsetting.
So really the heat it tool is a diet tool.
Effective. Okay, so now that's pretty dry. Let's add some more leaves. I kind of want one coming up over here. Kind of round it out. And I'm just kind of working my way around this flower. And I'm gonna do like straight space blue. And let's do a flower. I mean, Keenan, you gotta let me know when I'm saying the wrong.
When you're talking about leaves versus flowers and
Yeah, I
flowers versus
keep on
leaves.
mixing those words up.
You're painting both of them simultaneously, so
That's true.
kind of doing a cool thing there.
And then I'm gonna redefine this leaf that bled out. So I'm just gonna go in with my 6. Okay.
I love that leaf.
And then I'm gonna switch to a, you know what though? I don't like how perfect it is. I'm gonna mess it up on purpose. There we go. Ugh, I feel better. Okay, now let's do some like dark space blue. And by dark, I'm just using like straight, a lot of color, picking up a lot of paint to get a dark value. I'm gonna switch to my 2, and we're gonna do some of these kind of thin little leaves and stems. Now when I do these, you can start with the stem and then do leaves from there. I always like to start with that top leaf first, because then I know how long my stem is gonna be. So I know that I want my stem of leaves to end here. So that's where I'm gonna put it. And then, now I can do my stem. I have noticed that when I do my stem first, I tend to put it where I want the leaf to end. Does that make sense? And what that does is, let's say my stem went all the way to the end of this leaf, then when I do the leaf on the top of my stem, it's off my paper or way too close to the edge and messes with my composition. So when I'm doing little details like that, where I'm trying to be aware of the spatial elements, I want to paint that top leaf first, because then I know that's where it ends and I have plenty of room on my margin.
That's cool.
Leaf. And these don't have to be symmetrical. Symmetrical means like mirrored. So you can have them not symmetrical. You can do them symmetrical. This is where you get to make some decisions, okay? And I really love this color. I feel like I need it more over here. So I'm gonna do a little leaf this way. And now I'm kind of like standing back and looking at it. Where it feels a little empty on this side. What do you think, Keenan?
I kind of like it empty.
Okay.
I don't know why,
That's okay.
but I kind of, if anything, I would add maybe, I don't think this flower has one, but like a yellow stem, stamen sticking out of it.
This one?
Uh-huh.
You know what? That's a great call out. Let's add that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do my tiger orange, if I have any that's like clean. And I'm going to do a half circle, because we would only see part of the center. And then let's do little lines coming out of that. And you can also do like dots. And we'll go back with our pen too, if we want to. Ooh, that's nice.
That does look good.
I like it. I'm gonna go back in and redefine the center on this one. Do a circle and some dots around it, using my 2. Okay. You know what? I do really like this edge right here that I got on this flower. I love that that purple or that fuchsia just bled a little bit. It's kind of like wispy and soft. So you're right.
Great.
I don't know if it needs anything.
No.
Look at me listening to you.
I know, weird.
I never do that. That bled out a little bit, which I think is pretty cool. Let's drop in some color there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some detail lines with our pen. Now again, this is completely up to you. If that's something you want to do, maybe you just did the watercolor portion and you're like, this is great. I don't want to mess with this. That's so fine. So don't feel like you have to do this. The other thing that I want to call attention to is after you add this pen, you can still just let it dry for like a minute, and then you can still paint on top of it, okay? So I don't want you to think that now that we're moving to a pen, it's like we can't make any more color adjustments, because that's not true. It's always a dance, going back and forth, letting your painting inform you. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I feel fairly good about the composition, and I'm gonna start adding the pen element because a thick black line or a thin black line is going to be like this whole new element, and I'm going to see how we're painting is going to have to adjust from it, okay? So I'm going to make sure it's dry.
Oh, wow. It should be called the handy heat tool.
Yes.
It's like the size of a hand.
Ranger,
Level up.
we have an idea for you.
Oh, I mean, yes. Come to us for more good ideas.
Okay. Now, if you want to practice on a scrap piece of paper, the difference with this project and our ink and floral one is we do not have an outline, but that's because I want to show you guys how you can even sketch flowers, okay? So basically, when you draw a petal, you want to start at a point. That's the start of your petal, and then it kind of flares out from there. Okay, do you see that?
Yes.
And so we're basically just going to create different petal shapes under that same idea. So if this is my petal here, you can kind of flare it out and meet it back. Maybe this one is just fully round. Maybe this one has a few curves in it. Maybe this one is more wide. And none of these are wrong or bad. I just want you guys to make different petal marks, okay? And after we practice a bunch of different petal shapes, now we're gonna put those together in a flower. So let's say this is my center. Can they see this?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna do petal from here, and I'm gonna try and go for 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now is where we add kind of our detail lines coming out. And I know that when we're just starting out or we're not as comfortable with maybe drawing or sketching, understand that when we're drawing things in nature, there's some wonky stuff in nature. And if you're just like, no, my petal has like a big chunk missing out of it. Yeah, well, insects eat petals. I bet you I can totally go out there and find a flower right now with a big chunk out of the petal.
True. That's what I was thinking for your fuchsia one.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of looked like it had seen some things.
Yeah. Now, the other thing too is we were doing petals in like kind of a strong line. And if you want to add more of a sketchy feel to it, a sketch, as opposed to like a strong continuous line, is you do it in multiple marks and you let them kind of overlap. You see the difference? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you go over it. Like almost like scribbling.
I like the scribbling look.
That's cool, yeah?
Yeah, it looks cool.
Let's do the scribble look for our project. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
So, I'm going to take my pen, and I'm going to go on my flower, and I'm just going to do the scribble. Man, it's so funny. I just want to call attention to, I'm nervous right now. Like, this is being filmed. I don't know how this is going to turn out.
It's going to turn out great, Sarah.
This is how it feels every time you make something on your own. This is not a bad feeling. Every time I'm painting something on my own, I think it is very possible that this is going to turn out bad. But I know that my whole artistic journey and my value and my potential as an artist is not relied on one painting. So the worst that can happen, if this does turn out horrible, is you start over. And that's it. And knowing that gives you the courage to try whatever you want. You just have to believe it. You have to believe that you know that you'll pick up a paintbrush again, and then making mistakes, they're not that scary anymore. So I'm going to take my pen and we're going to scribble.
Cool.
And I'm going to do that again. And again. And on all of them. Wow.
That looks
so really
cool.
love how that turned out. Okay, and then for the center, let's darken that center. And I'm going to leave the middle so you can see that orange through. And we're going to do dots. Let them overlap. Do not try and make your dots perfect. Okay, and then let's do like a couple like little lines coming out, following the shape of my petal. So if it curves this way, it's going to curve this way. In the middle, it kind of goes straight, and on the side, it curves the opposite way. Dang, that turned out cool.
Super cool.
All right, we're gonna do the same thing on this one. Now this one's a little bit different because our petal is kind of more like that bottom petal, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, practiced. We're gonna go for it. Ready?
Ooh, that's a cool sharp shape.
Boop, boop, boop. And then we got this guy. And this guy. And this guy.
Cool.
Detail lines. Black center. This is turning out so fun. You guys, I had no idea where this was gonna go. Sorry, can it go?
It makes me think of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie where it's 2D and 3D, like crazy animated.
Yes.
I love that.
Okay, let's keep on going. I'm gonna do a black center for these flowers, just filling it in with the pen. And I can outline them, but just kind of keeping with that kind of scribble. And I'm gonna outline this guy. And your lines don't have to match up with the shape of the watercolor. We learned that in our ink and floral. They can be smaller, they can be bigger, they can be whatever you want. Let's do some veins.
I just thought of that song. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky.
Yes.
And I don't even know if those are the words.
I think that sounds right.
Okay.
Okay. And then maybe we do a couple leaves that are just lines and no color. Like that. And I'm gonna do some leaves that are just tiny using this pen, like they're coming off of these little buds. And let's do another leaf over here. Okay, now I'm kind of stepping back and I'm looking at, this is where we did a lot. Now we're gonna kind of lean back, take a picture, walk across the room, see what's going on here. I will say that I still feel like this bottom right feels a little bit more empty. Keenan, how do you feel about it? Still too empty? I mean, still good?
I think it still feels good because I look at that corner and then I immediately go to the top corner above it, and that seems great because the opposite corner seems great as far as being full.
Oh, okay.
So like the right top corner and the bottom left look good because they're both full. In my head, that makes sense.
Yes. I will say that I definitely feel a line of, like my composition is leading our eye across because I got a lot here, I got a lot here, and I got a lot here. And that's a great, like having somebody's eye go across your painting or your composition is a great thing because then they move across it. You know?
Movement is good.
I'm gonna do one. I just feel like I need something right here. What do you think about that?
Okay.
I'm gonna do the small petals just using my pen in black.
Ooh, that's great.
Ooh, that's cool. I wanna do it again.
Nice.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I like those.
Maybe this guy has some. And this is where it gets scary because once you find something that's really fun, you just kind of like keep going. And sometimes you need to stop, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's fun just to like go for it. And I just feel like I need, this one I'm gonna leave not filled in. My hand keeps moving back here. What is it? I think it needs a different color. What if I do a little bit of a wash of a different color?
Okay.
Here.
Where?
Here. Should I do yellow or dark blue?
Ooh, definitely a yellow.
Okay.
Because a dark blue would really draw my eye there.
Yes, yes. Keenan, yes. Okay, so what Keenan just said, when you're thinking about balancing a composition, you want to think about the value of a color and what that will bring to it. Yellow is a lighter value naturally. Dark blue is a dark value, and darker values tend to move our eye to something faster. Okay?
Yes.
So if we just want a hint of something there without distracting, you're gonna go for subtlety. Yeah.
I thought of two things.
Okay.
One, it made me think of movement when you mentioned that you want the viewer's eye to move. And I thought then you notice more every time your eyes move. And so I feel like the subtlety of while you're looking through the image, that yellow is just gonna be secretly there.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm so stoked.
I'm gonna do.
Maybe like
I'm gonna do a little bit. I feel like I need like fuchsia with it a little bit to warm it, so it doesn't turn green.
Okay. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good save. Because that's what I was thinking. Oh, that's nice.
Let's like just drop it in here. And then I'm gonna grab some paper towel and I'm gonna kind of lift.
Ooh.
So it's just a hint.
Barely there.
Barely there, right? Just a little. That feels better.
But you wouldn't see it until you go back across.
You guys, so glad we're doing this together. Because the wonderful thing about when you're thinking about these things in your painting and the composition, you get to a point where you go, I need a place for my viewer's eye to rest. I need a place for my viewer's eye to be activated. And you just start thinking about these different pieces. And as you notice it within yourself, you can try and predict what other people are going to do. Now, you won't always get it right? Because people are people and we have different experiences and we're different people. So maybe what catches Keaton's eye doesn't catch my eye. But overall, we can say, I need something here that they can kind of look at if they were maybe able to stop there just for a second, but not enough to distract from what's going on. You see what I'm saying?
Totally.
Ah.
Fantastic.
Okay. I can't tell you how much I love how this like sketchy scribble thing turned out. I think it's so fun. And if you want to do more detail lines, you can, but just remember, like, this is a dark value. This is black. So whatever marks you make, like, they're going to have a strong impact on your painting just for the sheer fact that this is going to be the darkest value on your painting. So have fun with that. Do what you will with that information. And maybe just some like detail lines at the top. Not a lot. I'm going to call that good.
I think it looks great.
You guys, I hope this gave you a little bit of insight to the process of creating something new and recognizing that so much of it is just going with the flow and making decisions and sticking with them and knowing that you can always, always, always paint again. So it's not a big deal. I know that this was kind of a vague, basic drawing lesson, but don't think of it as I'm learning to draw. Think of it as I am making different marks on my paper. How many different marks and shapes can I make? Because so much of drawing and art and painting is simply getting used to the tools in your hand, how to hold it, where it can move. And once you get more familiar with the shape and the movement, and if I go this way, if I press hard, this is the kind of line I'll expect, then it's so much easier for you to know what to expect when you are painting and you can kind of predict, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Where you want to go with something. So this turned out so different from our inspiration, which I love that. I cannot wait to see how your postcard turns out. I can't wait to see you make this yours and play and explore, especially with this pen that we have, which is such a great tool. And I hope that you take time to make something and send some love, because we can all use it, you know, right?
Totally.
So tag us in what you make. We would love to see it. And one other little tidbit that I want to share with you. So I taped this off using Holbein soft tape. If you have, if you are going to put this in the mail and you're kind of nervous about weather and about it getting damaged by water, we have this thing, I don't have it with me, but it's called Dorland's Wax Medium. It's just on our website.
Yep.
It's a wax that comes in a container. You just take a paper towel or a cloth and you scoop a little bit out, and then when your painting is dry, you rub it on. It does not smear, which blew my mind. And then you let it dry for like an hour, and then you can drop that in the mail, and it's totally water resistant.
That's crazy.
I've literally dripped water on my paintings to make sure that it works, and it works great.
Wow.
So yeah, if you're looking for a way to seal your paintings, especially if they're postcards going in the mail, let your painting dry, do a layer of that wax medium, Dorland's wax on top of it, and it'll be totally safe.
Crazy.
Okay. Thank you so much for painting with me. If you need any of these supplies, you can find them at letsmakeart.com. And if you have someone you want to send some art to nominate for Let's Make Art Matter, go to our website, scroll down to the bottom, find Nominate for Let's Make Art. Okay? This is my scroll down. Scroll down to the bottom. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope this was fun for you. It sure was fun for me. So thanks, Keenan.
You're welcome.
See you guys
Thank you.
next time. Bye.